1 minute ago. Taylor Swift testifies Diddy used her tour as a shield for underground VIP freakoffs. Before we begin, viewer discretion is advised. What follows is not just a story, it's a revelation. Based entirely on federal court transcripts and verified exhibits, this account is for informational and journalistic purposes only. It started with a forwarded email. No leaks, no raids, no hacked server. Just a misclick. A logistics memo buried 12 replies deep in a routine tour. Planning thread was forwarded by a newly hired social media coordinator. The subject line was forgettable VIP review, Nashville plus Tampa. The content looked harmless: venue notes, digital passcodes, city checklists. But 12 emails deep in bright red highlight was one sentence that cracked the dam. Send scout names directly to LA Mark Home M. It meant nothing to most, but it froze the courtroom. It wasn't a confession, it wasn't classified, but what it connected was undeniable. That one line linked Taylor Swift's record-breaking ERA's tour, her billion-dollar musical empire, to something no one had expected. Not a conspiracy, not a scandal, a system. Inside that innocuous document, filed under a dormant Swift LLC email address, was the first official breadcrumb connecting the tour to what prosecutors called Crimson 10, a list of girls. Not fans, not influencers, targets. The prosecution leaned in. This wasn't about Diddy yet. This was about how he used something larger, louder, and more beloved than himself, Taylor Swift's tour. Court Exhibit 42A was sealed within minutes, but the damage was done. It had already been shown, and what it showed redefined the case. The gallery shifted. Phones went off. For the first time, silence wasn't procedural, it was reverent, because Taylor Swift had entered the courtroom not physically, but structurally. Not as an accused, not as a witness, but as a shield, or worse, a portal. She hadn't sent the email. But her name was in the metadata. Her infrastructure was the delivery system. Her concerts, the cover. 12 hours later, a mother took the stand. Her daughter, 20 years old, a lifelong Swiftie, had won an exclusive VIP acoustic set invite through an Instagram giveaway called Swift Surprise Events. She received no ticket, no instructions, just a red wristband. Matte, understated, no brand. It came with a venue address and a time slot 2 hours before showtime. The mother drove her to the stadium gate. The last time she saw her daughter, the girl was waving to a side stage loading truck. Security footage caught the moment. What it didn't catch was her exit. She never made it to the show. 6 other girls across 5 cities, all shown in projected courtroom images, wore the same red band. All of them had entered through non-fan zones, all logged as crew intern and back-end systems. But none had contracts, none had credits, none were acknowledged by Swift's team. The bands weren't merch. According to the FBI's lead tech analyst, they were soft RFID surveillance tags, low-energy trackers used for discrete movement mapping. These are not passive fan items, she said. They're tracking assets, and they respond to proximity triggers. They're bait. A chilling pause followed. Then a single line of dialogue echoed through the court, pulled from a leaked internal text. Exhibit 42B, Crimson 10 is locked. No resyncs, only push model, night 2. Group text only. This wasn't VIP management, this was a capture protocol. Then came the drive. Seized from a red Pelican case hidden in a Miami storage unit under a false name, the drive was labeled Miami Night 6 Combs. Inside, hundreds of encrypted files, including one folder titled Scout Sync. Among the contents, video logs, routing orders, fan data, and a breakdown titled Celebrity Convergence Model. The theory: use massive clean image celebrities, Swift Grande, others as visibility shields. Stadium's high turnover, backstage, chaos, all perfect for moving unmarked personnel. One video, clip 3A, was played aloud. Yo, this is confirmation. Swift VIP pools are clean, forwarded to Shell East. List contains initials TS. Flag, don't touch her. She's heat right now. The room held its breath. TS, Taylor Swift. Not targeted, not complicit, but marked. As what A, deterrent A, risk A, protected asset. She had already been approached. Someone had tried, and someone more powerful had said no. But that protection didn't extend to the girls. Witness number 12 took the stand next. Former private security for Diddy. He described the entire operation not as protection, but movement. It wasn't security, he said. It was rerouting. People weren't being guarded. They were being placed. He stared straight ahead when asked how Swift's tour fit in. She didn't know, he said, but they used her. The final moment of part 1 came not from a file or a witness, but a piece of jewelry. Exhibit 44, a necklace, shaped like a cassette. Not Etsy, not merch. A real functioning voice recorder. Inside, 16 seconds of audio. A girl whispering beneath static. He said, "I got lucky because I'm prettier in person." Pause. "There's someone behind the mirror. I saw them move. Click." The girl wearing it was last seen in Nashville, May 6th, 2023. Her hotel room was spotless, except for the necklace left on the windowsill. The cassette wasn't decoration, it was a key. The time code embedded in the tape matched a now defunct biometric door lock, registered to a private estate owned by Combs. That estate had burned down 3 weeks before the trial. By the end of day 2, no one was calling this coincidence. The press had changed its language, the court had changed its tone, and the world had changed its question. If Taylor Swift was the shield, who was the sword? It began with a rehearsal. Atlanta, southeast leg of the tour. A backup dancer, young anonymous, protected witness, was grabbing a water bottle backstage. The green room was locked. That was odd, but not suspicious until the door opened. A woman in a red dress stepped out. No pass. Pale, silent, shaken. "You good?" the dancer asked. She didn't answer. She walked away. He entered. What he saw wasn't tour prep. It wasn't even Swift-related. A black curtain was strung across a cheap tripod. Faux lighting, faux interview setup. A recording camera with a blinking red light. A woman sat in the chair, crying. 2 men in suits flanked her. Nearby, red folders, a single can of sparkling water, a pair of headphones. Then a voice said, "Wrong green room. This one's private." He backed out, apologized. He never forgot. Weeks later, scrolling through coverage of the trial, he heard a voice on a distorted tape. His voice. "You good." That moment had been recorded, without his knowledge. He had walked into something, and now realized he was part of the evidence. That same recording setup was found in Denver, Miami, Las Vegas, always near Swift venues, always tied to red wristband girls. The prosecution dubbed it the Red Room Protocol. But it was what came after that shook even seasoned federal investigators. A still image. Security camera footage. Nashville, May 6th, 2023. ERA's tour night. The shot fireworks in the sky, phones in the air, fans cheering. But in the top right corner, a girl in a red dress. Not dancing, not clapping. Walking silently toward the venue exit. Her wristband caught the light. Matte red. Passive glow. She matched a name from the Crimson 10 list. She had never posted again after August 2023. Her name appeared in backstage records, marked as entered, never marked exited. The clip wasn't violent. It wasn't explicit. It was worse. It was quiet. Then came the page, Swift-coded, 15,000 followers. A harmless fan-run lyric analysis account, or so it seemed. The page had posted images long before the public saw any wristbands. Blurry envelopes, cryptic captions. "She's not ready for what's coming. Not every VIP is meant to return. You won, but you don't know what yet." FBI agents pulled server logs. The page wasn't fan-run. It was hosted on a Pulse Events internal server, same company linked to ghost invitations, backdoor access, and red band giveaways. This wasn't fandom. This was a bulletin board, disguised as community, coded, deliberate. By day 4. Taylor Swift's legal team had issued a statement. Ms. Swift has no knowledge, connection, or consent regarding the events described in ongoing litigation. We will cooperate fully to ensure clarity, safety, and justice. But the court wasn't investigating her. They were investigating the machine that used her. The judge called the case a high-resolution projection of how celebrity infrastructure can be weaponized without consent. Because the most shocking thing wasn't who was guilty, it was who was blind. Then came the fire. A boutique hotel in Nashville. Room 312, May 6. The last known location of another Crimson 10 girl. The necklace she wore, the one with the cassette, was registered to a biometric key system tied to Combs' former residence. The footage from the 3rd floor went missing. 90 minutes lost. The room had no damage, no broken glass. Just a faint smell reported by 2 maids. The incident was dismissed as pipe leakage. No police report until now. Inside the room, a red velvet envelope, a concert ticket, a torn wristband, a piece of paper written in shaky ink. "I won something I didn't sign up for." Witness number 13 was the concierge at the Yay Hotel during a fragrance launch event, Ariana Grande's Not Swift's. 2 girls previously photographed in Swift events were seen entering via the service elevator, not part of the party, not on the public guest list, but their names were on a sealed document labeled Crimson Carryover. Data from their wristbands had migrated from Swift's ecosystem into Grande's. Same trackers, same routing system, but Grande had no idea. The analyst testified, "This isn't about the artists, it's about the overlap. When a person becomes a system, their stage becomes a net." Then came the final post on Swift-coded, June 1st, 2023. "When the music stops, don't clap, run." That night, the account went private, then dark, then wiped. The FBI called it the most disturbing coincidence of the case. But it wasn't coincidence, it was design. Exhibit 45, a burned invitation card, recovered from a trash fire outside a Brentwood estate. Front C10 final, Nashville drop, back handwritten lyrics. I knew you'd haunt all of my what-ifs. It wasn't addressed to Taylor. It wasn't found in her tour files. It was sent to Swift-coded. The implication Taylor Swift was never meant to be accused. She was the camouflage. And as one prosecutor put it, this wasn't about what happened in plain sight. It was about what was never meant to be seen at all. Star Island, Miami, a sprawling waterfront estate, labeled on a city permit as a Combs production retreat. The location wasn't new to federal investigators, but what they found inside reframed everything. Blueprints showed an elaborate interior layout. Guest records listed familiar names. But the signature that caught everyone off guard belonged to a woman from Swift's management team. She never entered, but her assistant did. According to witness Marie Steen, a former logistics manager, they were hoping she'd be the new Shield, the new Swift. That night coincided with Swift's Miami show. It also coincided with the disappearance of another Crimson 10 girl. She wasn't on tour. She wasn't a performer. She was listed as crew support at a Combs-affiliated fashion event run by Pulse Guest Relations. She was 19, unpaid. Contract routed through a defunct modeling agency. One that shared its banking backend with Combs Global. That wasn't a glitch, it was a route. The courtroom leaned forward again when a forensic marketing analyst broke down the capture route protocol. This wasn't speculation. This was metadata DNS trails payment logs. Pulse Events wasn't a marketing firm. It was an access broker. Their method, create ghost Instagram pages, mimic fan giveaways, DM select users, enter your info, tag a friend, limited VIP acoustic experience, then deliver no ticket, no branding, just a red wristband, and a time slot, always before the show, always at a private load-in gate, never part of the main check-in system. The result? A VIP guest not logged in Swift's system, a backstage path not covered by venue security, and a girl with no idea she wasn't part of a real contest. Then came the short list. Exhibit 46 internal Pulse communication. Push Crimson 10 only to final shortlist. Do not sync to merch list. Route directly to Pulse. Confirm VIPs received an night 2 invite. Group text only, no individual comms. Diddy wants models. Age ceiling, Chapman 25. There were no names, just criteria, no winners, only selections. And according to prosecutors, this wasn't a scam. It was trafficking, designed, industrial, invisible. Then came the diagram, a flowchart titled Celebrity Pass-Through Model, Tier 1 Shields. At the top, Swift. Grande. 2 other names were redacted. Below them, venue locations follower counts market demographics. At the base, event zones and VIP pivot points. It wasn't a conspiracy, it was infrastructure. Not built for crime, but used for it. Like hijacking a stage, a spotlight, a brand, and rerouting it into a tunnel. Back in court, a quiet man took the stand. Witness, the 21, former assistant stage tech. He remembered the girl in the red dress, the one who never checked out. She stood near the exit during the finale, not dancing, just watching. Like she didn't know if she was supposed to be there, he said. She vanished moments later, but she had been logged. In the show's security system, she had a red band and a timestamp, but no name. Then came the fire, a private estate in Brentwood, Combs linked. Inside a pile of burned documents, one item partially survived cardstock, an invitation. Printed in red ink, C10 final, Nashville drop. On the back, a handwritten Swift lyric, I knew you'd haunt all of my what-ifs. It wasn't a message to the artist, it was a trophy, a calling card. The most disturbing discovery, however, came not from a person, but from a pattern. The Crimson 10 weren't chosen randomly, they were scouted. Based on social data, facial recognition matches Instagram metrics and proximity to specific shows. Their photos were collected from public fan hashtags. Their information was cross-referenced through back-end trackers, and then targeted. The fans thought they were lucky, they thought they had won, but someone else had written the rules. By the close of day 5, the prosecution rested this portion of their case, but the damage had metastasized. What began as a memo had become a movement, a pipeline. And what stood at the center of it was not Taylor Swift. It was the illusion of access. As one analyst put it, the brilliance wasn't in the tech, it was in the silence. Because when no one's looking for you, no one sees when you vanish. It was always meant to be forgettable, a backup assistant, hired through a third-party firm, listed only as event logistics temp on internal HR paperwork. Her name barely made it into the court record. But what she saw, what she recorded, became the linchpin. She was assigned to the Dallas show. Her task coordinate minor dressing room resets between segments. Nothing invasive, Just move props, sanitize mics, reset water bottles. But one time the props weren't props. She opened the wrong case. Inside red wristbands, dozens, labeled with first names, ages, and destinations. The tags weren't digital, they were color-coded. She took a photo. She sent it to a friend. A week later, she was gone. No formal firing, no final check, no contact. Only a message sent from her number 2 days later. Don't ask, just delete it. The photo resurfaced in court as Exhibit 48C. It showed 10 wristbands laid out in a circle. At the center, a note, Crimson 10. Push only if green room clears. Then came the voice. A necklace, discovered on the windowsill of a Nashville hotel room, designed like a retro cassette, but functional. Inside a 16-second voice log. She whispered, "He said I got lucky. Said I'm prettier in person." Pause. There's someone behind the mirror. I saw them move. The audio cut with a click. But what stunned analysts wasn't the voice. It was the chip embedded in the cassette. A time-coded biometric key now obsolete, but still linked to a private door system once registered to a residence owned by Sean Combs. That residence had burned down 3 months earlier. Official cause, electrical fault. Unofficial suspicions, evidence clearance. The girl in question was last seen on May 6, 2023. She had posted a photo on Instagram just hours before smiling wristband on the captioned "Dream Night Unlocked, dodged VIP Swift." She never made it to the arena. Her phone pinged once, then nothing. No usage, no app launches, no GPS trace. But in the court's timeline, she was the 4th Crimson 10 subject to go silent. The 5th showed up weeks later, not alive, but working, unpaid, underage. As crew for a fashion event run by Pulse, her profile had been cleaned, her agency had been dissolved, her bank account had been linked to a shell firm also owned by Combs' corporate network. The message was clear. They weren't just disappearing, they were being rerouted. Witness number 25 was the forensic analyst who cracked the migration logs. He showed how data from one tour system could be silently ported into another without the artist ever knowing. His presentation was clinical. Slide 1, tracker IDs from Swift's tour system. Slide 2, those same IDs showing active at an Ariana Grande fragrance launch. Slide 3, photos. 2 girls from the Crimson 10 list entering via the freight elevator. Not on the event guest list, not on staff, but tagged. When asked who kept the guest record, the witness answered Diddy's private security. Then came the concierge, a quiet man. Witness number 27. He remembered the girls. They looked scared, he said. Not like they were sneaking in. Like they didn't know what they were doing. When asked if Ariana Grande knew, he shook his head. She was upstairs performing. She never saw them. The implication was terrifying, because it meant even other stars were now involved. Not willingly, but systemically. Day 6 ended not with testimony, but with a photo. A still from the Nashville tour. Not a headliner shot, not a fan selfie, just fireworks in the sky. And in the corner, a girl in a red dress. Still, alone, wristband catching light. She matched one of the original 10. She had never logged out, never posted again, never attended another concert. The crowd around her was ecstatic. The music played, but she walked away from the sound, slowly, deliberately, toward the exit, toward silence. The judge ended the day without commentary, but his final words before adjournment were recorded. He didn't speak to the lawyers, he spoke to the gallery. This isn't just about what we can prove. It's about what we missed. The courtroom was tired, not from time, from wait. 6 days of testimony, girls gone missing, emails no one meant to send, footage no one meant to record, and names no one thought would ever surface. But it wasn't over, because on day 7 they showed the video, a simple shaky fan shot clip. Taylor Swift on stage, lights exploding, fireworks rising. But that's not what mattered. The video froze. Top right corner, a red dress, a glowing band, a girl facing away. She wasn't clapping, she wasn't smiling, she was walking toward the exit. The prosecutor zoomed in, matched the face. She had posted on TikTok 3 days before, "Best day ever, manifesting VIP." That was her last post. The caption haunted the gallery now. But this wasn't about Taylor Swift anymore, and it never really had been, because Taylor, according to the prosecution's closing argument, was a visibility shield. Not complicit, not guilty, but present. And that presence created a mask, a cover, a stage. The stage became the tunnel. The fans became the freight, and the glitter became the distraction. Exhibit 50. An anonymous email sourced from a subpoenaed Pulse account. Subject line, Final C10 memo. Body delivery timing must align with artist anchor. Shield must be active. Comms blackout in place. Confirm glow bands coded for shift. That wasn't just logistics, that was planning. And the phrase artist anchor drew a new question. How many artists were used? The prosecution refused to answer. The file was sealed. Then came the final witness, a girl, survivor. She never spoke in public before. Her voice shook, but she stood. She entered a Swift VIP lottery through an influencer she trusted. The page was verified. The process was real. The excitement was overwhelming. Then came the red wristband. No branding, just a time and a place. She went. She got in. She remembered the lights, the hallways, the silence. Then the wrong room. Curtains, a chair, a man in a suit with a clipboard, a question. Do you like working in music? She said nothing. She was told to wait. She ran instead and never looked back. Her wristband was cut, stuffed into a cab seat. She went home and deleted her socials. She changed phones. She told no one, until now. She ended her testimony with one line: I thought I was a fan, but I was a file. The court went still. No closing arguments were needed. The evidence had said enough. Swift never testified. She never needed to. Because this wasn't her reckoning, it was theirs. The executives, the scouts, the handlers, the ghosts behind Pulse, the machine that turned concerts into cover. Outside the courthouse, Swift's team released a final statement. We are devastated to learn that our infrastructure, our platform of joy, was manipulated to harm. Our commitment is to every fan, every mother, every girl who trusted us. We will never let this happen again. And she meant it. Because when the world listened, they didn't just hear the music. They heard the screams behind it. The story didn't end with a verdict. The system fractured, Pulse dissolved. FBI investigations branched into 3 other industries. But no one was arrested that day, because this machine wasn't a person. It was a network. And it didn't die in court. It died in silence. One final detail. A burned piece of paper found in Brentwood. Edges scorched, but one line survived, handwritten, underlined twice. If the shield sings loud enough, no one sees the sword. And maybe that's true. But this time the shield saw it too, and she didn't stay silent. She turned the stage, she turned the spotlight, and this time the silence broke. For good.